Okay. That picture has brought me so much joy. I don't know if you know, but Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has just taken over the police department of Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. is a city without a state. And so the government can do that. Let's listen to what I just like to hear a 70s blaxploitation narrator. Crackdown and crackdown when the man sticks to the homeless. Here we go. I'm
announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
We're going to take it back to 1950. How about that? See you at the malt shop. Don't be ethnic. Posse commentarded.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
So there's a couple of problems with this. One is, look, here they come. It's like a parade, but nobody's there to wave any flags. It's like, and here they are, I guess, on their subway. It looks like the subways are safe because there's no place that anybody else sit down. And now everybody's staying home except for the National Guard. That's it.
I want him to do this day one, and then I want to see the people being carried out from the Epstein things, you know?
So
I wanted him to use, that's what I want him to do with that. Is that what they're going to do?
So now we have people like so I'm going to tell you what the big problem with this is in a sec. But here's Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been good on some issues and called out Trump on some, but bad on others. This would be one of them. She says crime in our Democrat-run nation's capital has hit a breaking point. Congressmen's carjacked, young interns murdered, residents and visitors from across the country and the world living in fear. Thank you, President Trump, for restoring law and order in Washington, D.C. So this is more of like you create the problem and then you have the solution, because it was because Trump's own Department of Justice was bragging in a press release that's still on their website earlier this year that crime in D.C. was at a 30-year low. Further, the murder rate is half that of St. Louis. If they're going to try and justify the military in D.C. based on that, they'll try anything. So they're going to bring the military into Washington, D.C. to fight a crime problem that's at a 30-year low. And that's not according to me. That's according to Trump's own Department of Justice. There it is. Violent crime in D.C. hits 30-year low, January 3rd. That's from... Here, we ask Grok. Yes, Washington, D.C. is experiencing a 30-year low in violent crime. Violent crime in the city has decreased by 26% compared to the previous year. According to D.C. police data, the U.S. Attorney's Office has also reported that violent crime in 2024 reached a 30-year low, citing police statistics. The decline comes after a particularly violent year in 23. So there's so...
by the way, I wouldn't trust anybody's figures of where violent crime is, especially where I live now, which is a real problem where I live. And I'm sure they're going to say some stupid shit that the crime's not bad here, but it is. People stop reporting it when nobody's handling it, and nobody was handling it. Who ran the cops before he did this? Like, who was running the D.C. police?
So the mayor of D.C. So, yeah, so you're saying you're siding with Trump on this. You're saying that
I'm sure this is some other thing.
You're saying get rid of all the statistics that crime is probably way worse. Even though
why would you even believe it? Nobody's going to report it when you stop solving crimes. They defunded the police everywhere. Remember that genius thing that they did?
Yeah, but they didn't. So now, they didn't. They actually refunded the police. You remember that?
They defunded the part where they go around the block and take care of crime.
After a summer of people screaming to fund the police, the Democrats got together and created a $2 billion more for the police and a whole new police institution. You know that.
Yeah, but not the crime that you want police to handle. I know there's like no word police and shit now. And a fucking.
I mean, you got to have some kind of statistics to bet. You can't just say that crime is at an all-time. You can't just say it. You have to go prove it. And they did it.
Violent crime. In fact,
his own Department of Justice says it's at a 30-year low. So does even Grok, which is a super establishment. So Trump set 450 federal officers from nearly 20 agencies onto D.C. streets in a weekend crime crackdown. What were the arrests? They got a guy on a dirt bike. They got a fugitive and a suspended license driver, while violent crimes is also down 26% from last year. So I'm sure this has nothing to do with legalized weed. And have you seen the prices of ammunition these days? These guys are killing me with the prices of ammunition. Am I right? But Kurt, you got to know this, Kurt. The stochastic crime is off the charts.
Yeah.
Right. And if I don't feel safe, I pull a fire alarm in a building just to be sure.
I think that's smart. I think that's all you can do.
So this is and I'm just saying, you better watch your ass, jaywalkers. They're going to throw the hood over your head, and you're going to wake up in Guantanamo. Skateboarders going to wind up getting waterboarded. This is the real. They're tracking down the real crime. This is really happening. This is from the Washington Post. Trump orders feds move on D.C. crime, take over D.C. police.
This is some war of like when the Democrats ran the cops during January 6th. Remember that January 6th that there's those officers that committed slip and slide because they're so depressed about what happened.
Yeah.
And then people got promoted. So that means there's some kind of the police is controlled by some Democrat thing, and now there's a Republican machine taking it from the Democrat thing. That's my guess.
President Donald Trump announced Monday that he was placing the D.C. police under direct federal control and will deploy the National Guard to the streets of Washington to fight crime. An extraordinary flex of federal power that strips city leadership of its ability to make law enforcement decisions and could expose residents of the nation's capital to unpredictable encounters with a domestically deployed military force. So,
every place I've lived, the crime's way up, and it's up in an annoying way, and you can't get police help that you'd want. You could get them to look at your tweets or whatever the fuck, but there's nobody handling crimes. Not nobody. They're
I know Kurt, when I lived in Pasadena, I had a guy with a gun in front of my house. I called the cops and I told him it took him an hour to get to my house.
Yeah.
In Pasadena. What the hell are the cops doing in Pasadena that it takes them an hour to respond to a domestic call of a guy with a gun? Yeah, it took an hour.
So like, I don't know what I would love to believe that he's like rooting out all the secret crap in DC, but we both know that's not what it's going to be.
So the decision to take over the Metropolitan Police Department and deploy 800 National Guard troops comes as the president has been slamming America's cities as places where crime is out of control, despite 2 years of declines that have brought homicide levels in major cities to their lowest levels in decades. The administration, the administration has already mobilized FBI agents in recent days and overnight shifts to help local law enforcement prevent carjackies and violent crime. I call them carjackies. I like that. They're carjackies.
You ever get a carjackie?
You got a carjackie? Because the District of Columbia is not a state, the federal government has unusually sweeping powers to intervene over the objections of its residents and its leaders, giving the president an opportunity to use it as a laboratory for a militarized approach to urban crime fighting. Trump portrayed a sweeping vision of law enforcement on the streets in Washington, declaring that federal agents, D.C. police, and the National Guard would use physical force to intimidate lawbreakers inside the district. They fight back until you knock the hell out of them because it's the only language they understand. That's what Trump said. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness, and we're getting rid of the slums too, Trump added. I know it's not politically correct, you'll say. Oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Okay.
So they're going to new houses or something?
Right.
So they're not getting rid of the slums. We're going to talk about it in our next segment. This is Trump's big plan to criminalize homelessness, basically. This is he wants to get rid of the homeless. He doesn't want to. Well, we're going to talk about it in the next segment. Trump has portrayed crime in the nation's capital as spiraling upward. D.C. Mayor Muriel E. Bowser, fantastic, has noted repeatedly that violent crime has declined for the past 2 years after a sharp post-pandemic spike in 23. Trump compared his plans for Washington to his administration's aggressive enforcement of immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border, where the National Guard and other branches of the military have been deployed since early in his term to crack down on border crossings. It wasn't immediately clear for how long Trump intended to take over the city's law enforcement abilities. Under the Home Rule Act, Trump can assume control of the D.C. police for 48 hours if he determines that special conditions of an emergency nature exist, which require the use of the Metropolitan Police Force for federal purposes. A president can extend the emergency takeover for a total of 30 days if he notifies members of Congress who oversee D.C. affairs. So 48 hours, well, no wonder he has to hurry things along. That's why everybody looks like they're in such a rush. Come on, junkie, with your pants at your ankles. Shake a leg. We're on a deadline. Any request for more than 30 days must be passed into law. Trump noted that he took his border actions quickly and without legislation. The executive order Trump signed Monday declared that the administration would take over D.C. law enforcement for the maximum period permitted under the Home Rule Act. So it sounds like he's going to go for the 30 days. That's what it sounds like, right? So Trump has repeatedly complained about crime in Washington and the city's homeless population, but he was spurred to further action in recent days by an assault on a former U.S. DOJ service staffer who was injured in an alleged carjacking. A person familiar with the White House deliberation said Monday, soon after the attack, D.C. police arrested a boy and a girl, both 15 years old, from Maryland, and charged them with unarmed carjacking of Edward Korstein, who is also known by the nickname Big Balls.
It does take some big balls to do an unarmed carjacking.
He got that nickname after they shot him in the balls with a non-lethal round.
Yo, you can't carjack me. That'll be the nicest thing that happens to you.
Trump last week posted an image of Korstein smeared in blood, sitting shirtless on the ground, warning that if D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city. Flanked on Monday by top officials, including Attorney General and Epstein liar Pam Bondi, Trump declared his sweeping plans to federalize crime fighting in Washington. They'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. That's what... Hey, why don't you just treat... we'll talk about that later. Officials said that they would seek to expand the ages at which juveniles can be charged as adults.
Oh.
Under D.C. law, the city's attorney general prosecutes most juvenile crimes. The U.S. attorney for D.C. handles adult criminal cases in the district and can charge 16 and 17-year-olds as adults if they're accused of certain violent crimes, including murder, rape, armed robbery, and burglary. Pirro, whom Trump appointed to the job in May, said Monday that she wanted to lower the age limit for charging juveniles as adults to 14. City leaders have disputed Trump's if we could just get more like North Korea. City leaders have disputed Trump's characterization of crime in Washington, saying that the nation's capital is safer than it was a year ago. Violent crime is down 26% compared to this time in 2024. According to D.C. police data, homicides are down 12%. D.C. police have made about 900 juvenile arrests this year, almost 20% fewer than during the same time frame last year. About 200 of those charges are for violent crimes, and at least 4 dozen are for carjacking. In addition,
Carjacking's making a comeback.
Carjacking's coming back. In addition to the why do people drive around with their car doors not locked? I don't understand.
Because they believe the fake safety statistics of DC, I guess.
In addition,
it's really safe here for the last year, is it?
In addition to the FBI, it always whenever I'm in DC, I guess I go in the safe parts. I've always feel very safe in DC.
You don't know what's safe or unsafe until you like been somewhere a while or you got jumped.
Right.
You don't know until you don't.
In addition to the FBI, the Secret Service and the U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division has also been directed to launch special patrols in Washington. But the administration has not consulted with the D.C. Police Department, the chief law enforcement agency responsible for policing local crime, about how best to deploy federal services, said a senior official with the department. Oh, so they're not consulting. The National Guard deployment will be another example of the president's increasing use of U.S. military forces to carry out his objectives on American soil, an approach that has been used only sparingly in history, and which has spurred concerns of over-militarization. You think? Earlier this year, the president tested legal limits when he bypassed California Governor Newsom and unilaterally deployed thousands of National Guard troops to protest over ICE raids in Los Angeles, an unprecedented move that is being challenged in the court. Newsom had repeatedly asserted that the National Guard's presence was not needed. Oh, really? Well, that's nice. Californians have repeatedly stated that Gavin Newsom is not needed. How about that?
He was busy podcasting.
He's got a very busy podcast.
Yeah, the city leaders of DC, I don't trust them. I'm going to tell you, not that I trust Trump, but all these cities, I watch these assholes act like there's no problem, and I don't live on a hill or nothing. I never did, so I got to see up close how they're handling it. It's not good.
Andrew Weinstein says, make no mistake, federalizing the police and deploying the National Guard to D.C. isn't about a non-existent crime wave. It's an authoritarian move to crush dissent and strip Americans of their right to self-govern. This is a chilling precedent for every city in America. Well, you can only really do it in Washington, D.C. because they don't have a state. And I'm for D.C. statehood. Admittedly, I haven't looked at much into it, but I don't.
I'm for Disney World statehood. What do we have all these Vaticans in our country?
Me too.
For? Make Lake Havasu a state.
But people like to, like when we were in Mexico City, people are like, "Oh my God, aren't you afraid of all the drug crime down there?" I'm like, I'm not in the part where they do drug crime. It's just like when I go to Chicago, people are like, "Aren't you afraid?" No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, you don't have to live somewhere and commute. And that's probably what this guy, 19-year-old, he has to drive to some upcoming neighborhood because the property is so high, right? To rent anywhere, to live near work. So you got to find a place to live that you could afford, right? That's not too bad. That's how it works when you go to these cities. DC is one of the least affordable places on earth.
I was a victim of crime 3 times in Pasadena, California. And each one of those crimes happened right in front of my house. Right in the front of my house.
You should call into his podcast about it.
Right in front of my house.
Ask Theo to ask Gavin.
So, it seems weird, and I'm going to get so there's a big homeless component to this. I'm going to get to in my next segment. But if you'd like to hear my jokes about this, you can come see me in Rutherford, New Jersey, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, or in Chicago, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, and Appleton, Wisconsin. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. And only go there. Don't go anywhere else, because if you do, you're going to spend more money. Go to jimmydore.com for those tickets, and we'll see you there.
If unarmed 15-year-old carjackers exist, the problem is real bad. If you're that fat of a pigeon, you think you don't need a gun, and you don't need one. You can carjack someone by hand now. That, to me, indicates something's way out of control. Not even a gun? You don't even respect me enough to bring a gun. You and your 15-year-old gun just
How
gonna
does
muscle me
someone
out of my car.
carjack you? How does someone carjack you without a 15-year-old kid carjack you without a gun? How the F does that happen? Do you think that would
you're
happen to you,
19-year-old.
Kurt? Do you think that you would let that
No,
happen to you?
Do you see this kid that they did it to? He's 19. Did you see him? He's
Uh,
bloody. He is beaten bloody. The pictures are
Oh, really?
very, oh yeah, it looks real bad.
Well, it's that, it's that, remember when they had the LA riots and Reginald Denny?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Bill Hicks had that joke. Step
What?
on the fucking gas. You're in a
Yeah,
truck. What are you doing?
He might have been, I don't know what he was doing actually. I never found
Remember
out.
that? I remember that. That was a funny joke. But anyway, just let's remember, everybody, try to stay in shape. Try to get in shape. Okay, over to Steph.
Jimmy, what do you think about this? This is all about Israel protests, nothing to do with crime.
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. Are there a bunch of Israel protests in D.C. right now? I don't know.
And somebody says, I'm not buying the DC crime is at a 30-year low.
I think it's another distraction from Epstein.
But that's not.
Yeah, of course.
I think this is just this is a way to Trump to try to get his base back. Look, I'm cracking down on people you hate, inner city criminals, right?
With carjackers, I do hate them and do crack down, but I still want the other promises you said, and I'd like you to pretend I'm a Jew and keep a promise to me.
Yeah. So to me, that's what this is. This is another, we got to keep doing stuff to distract people from talking about Jeffrey Epstein. That's what I think.
Well, I'm still going to talk about him, but keep doing stuff. Let's see the aliens and
Well,
all the other things are going to bust out.
But wait till you hear,
Instead of telling you about Epstein.
what he has. So he has a plan for the criminals,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's going to have a plan for the homeless, which I'm going to talk about next. Over to Steph.
Jimmy, you want to go to Rumble now?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to see you at Rumble. Here's the link, ladies and gentlemen. I just posted it. I'll post it again for you, and then I'll pin it. Come on.
Is it going to be build some homes? I bet it's not.
Ha ha!
All right, let's see this. Come on. What? It wouldn't let me. Why isn't it showing? Hold on. Where'd it go? All right, stand by. Don't do anything yet. You got to stand by. I got to make sure this shows up. You didn't do anything yet, right? Okay, there's the one link. Okay, let me
Hey,
pin
sweater
it.
lady, is the AC on?
Yeah,
I don't feel it. in
the
here.
AC's
do you
on.
feel it in here, Steph?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah. Let me do that for a
I
minute
don't
for you.
feel it.
All right, so stand by. I have it linked, ladies and gentlemen, and let me see. Let me do this. I have to refresh one more thing. Let me refresh this.
Okay.
All right, I got it refreshed.
You should have that thing turned that way, maybe. Going right into this umbrella. You should have it turned. I don't know.
It didn't. Okay, we'll turn it. We'll change it in 1 second. Let me just do this.
Cool over here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you over at Rumble.
Hey, what if you could delay your next 2 mortgage payments? That's right. Imagine putting those 2 payments in your pocket and finally getting a little breathing room. It's possible when you call American Financing today. If you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas bills piling up, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on credit cards, and there doesn't seem to be a way out. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off that debt. You need to call American Financing today before you get to a point where you can't make those payments. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and consolidate debt, all without upfront fees. And their customers are saving an average of $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise. In fact, it's simple, and it could save your budget this summer. Call now before it's too late. 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy.